So this is just a quick video about Banfield Pet Hospital and traveling with pets. I travel with my little guy Mickey, who's right over here. And we just left Petco, where I bought a topical flea treatment. I'll get to how this involves Banfield in a second. Advantage 2 for him. His first flea treatment came from the vet. The thing is, I got him in Maryland, and then he traveled with me to California. And one of the primary reasons I went with Banfield, I was like, Banfield is like, all over the United States. They'll be able to pull up his records. And so any thing I need to take care of, at least I'm going with a company that's sort of everywhere as far as vet care. So when I got back to California, I wanted to set his next appointment, and appointments are months out. A lot of it has to do with, sort of COVID handling and, them making sure things are spaced out properly. All stuff I understand. But I was like, okay, it's coming up for him to get his next topical flea treatment from the vet. And so I called Banfield, and a local Banfield, and I'm just like, I can't, get an appointment until the future, but I'd love to get another flea treatment for him. And Banfield she was like, well, the doctor can't give you prescription flea treatments for a pet he hasn't seen, even though we can pull up the records. So the primary reason I went with Banfield was to make things like this easier, that if I was in one state and went to another state, I wouldn't have any problem having a place that already had his records and already would be able to do things like fill a prescription. And it turns out that it's not that easy. And it's understandable. I don't know how Banfield operates on the inside as far as how much they are actually one entity and how much they aren't. I don't know if it's these are just vets operating under Banfield or anything like that, but it was kind of disappointing because I had been told I should be able to just walk in, and I explained my situation in Maryland, and I was told I should be able to just walk in as long as his records were on file. I should be able to get his next month's treatment, because that was my concern when I only got one treatment at the vet, and it was only for 30 days, and I knew 30 days later I was going to be in a completely different state in the United States. In fact, all the way on the other side of the country. So it's kind of disappointing, which makes me want to stick with an over-the-counter, something as simple as a flea treatment. And I do know about the Seresto collars. I didn't go with the collar because he already wears a harness a lot. He already wears a regular collar with his name tag on it. I didn't want to add a flea collar on top of that, which is why I chose not to go with the Seresto and to get a topical treatment instead, especially because he's not microchipped yet. I am setting that appointment, and again, that is out into the future. So based on the fact he already wears a collar, he already wears a harness, I decided to go with a topical treatment. I also have I did some research on sprays to keep around just for those times where I just want to touch him up with a little bit of cat safe sort of preventative spray. So I'm looking out for all those things, but it turned out Banfield did not have the advantages I thought it would have when you're traveling with a pet. I mean, on one hand, yes, they can just pull up his records, but on the other hand, every time I go to the vet, I can simply just take his records and keep my own records. So the one advantage is, his records are on file. If I go to any other Banfield, it's as easy as them pulling up his history, as opposed to if I was going to vets who were disconnected in some way. So that is good. Maybe if you're moving permanently from one location to another, then that works. But if you're traveling and you want to be able to walk into a Banfield in Wyoming and be like, hey, my pet is, a Banfield pet, they apparently still wouldn't be able to issue prescriptions for an animal they haven't seen. So some of the things that I thought going with Banfield would help, it actually didn't help at all.